Hi, my name is Anika. I am a student from Ukraine. I was there during the wartime. I thought I'll share my experience. So it all started on 23rd of February, and I woke up to a bomb blast. And then, like when I looked at my phone, I had so many missed calls from my friends and my family. And after I talked to a friend, the second bomb blast happened, and this made me cry. Like it made me understand how close I was to death, and it really scared me, and I couldn't keep my emotions in, and I started crying. And then the next thing I did was like I started packing frantically. I just wanted to leave somehow. I called up my parents and I asked them to book a ticket somehow, and they called up their friends and friends of friends, and they all tried to book, but then all the airports were closed. So my mother called me up and told me she was smiling with all her teeth. And she told me all the airports are closed. She was basically scared, and she was trying to show me she wasn't. And then I stay at the hostel. I stay at the hostel provided by my university. It's a government hostel. So usually students from other universities or other places, students who are not staying at the hostel are not allowed in. But then when I called my friends from living in flats and what do you say houses of their own, what happened was like they're all coming to hostel, and due to the war everyone was allowed in. And yeah, right in one of my friends told me right in front of his house there was a bomb blast, and all of them are traumatized, and they're trying to reach here somehow. Usually it takes 1.5 hours, but then that day it took them 5 hours because of the rush. When we looked out, it was like so there was like so much traffic jam that it would like for like as I said, a distance that would like take an hour took 5 hours, like, or 4.5 hours that day because of the rush. Everyone was leaving with the things, all the important things, and they were leaving the rest behind. And then the shops, the war was a sudden thing, so we weren't aware of it, and then we didn't have food stock with us. So all the shops were fully crowded, and by the time I went there, there wasn't much. And I lost my documents and card in between. It was with, not lost exactly, it was with a friend, and he was not at a hostel. So like I didn't have money, and then my roommate was the one that bought food for me, and she told me stay with me. We like I'll give you the money, and you can give it to me later, and we'll take care of things. And we were that was the day we realized that our hostels had bunkers, and most of the flats had bunkers, and all the metro stations were converted to um, shelters. So they showed us where the bunker was, and they told us as soon as you hear the siren, that was for the whole Ukraine, like you have to go back to, that was like this siren was, I think, yeah, like every hostel had it, or every place had it, and every place had it, and I think our hostel had it separately too. So you had to leave to the bunker, everyone had to leave to the bunker. And if there wasn't enough space in the bunker, since students from everywhere were coming to our hostel, everywhere in Kiev, so we're coming to my hostel. They said you have to stay in the first one or two floors, or places where there are no windows. And like all of us went to the bunkers. We thought like since bunkers were planned beforehand, since they were there for these many years, it'll be like very clean and stuff, but then it wasn't. It was very dirty. It was so dusty that people with asthma or respiratory problems or anxiety couldn't go down there. It wasn't really hygienic, and me and my friends took turns sleeping. There was no charging point, so we couldn't charge our phones. We couldn't like contact much people because we couldn't charge all the time. We took toilet breaks in between. There were no toilets down in the bunker, so we came up for toilet breaks in between, and then we had to go down again. And everyone was like frustrated, angry, or some people uh, were laughing because they were scared. I don't know how to explain it. And then like people got angry for silly things. And since like in general, like if I couldn't get angry at my friends, so I used to like go fight with someone else who I didn't know much. And then that was what was happening with everyone. And like I thought, through Twitter and stuff, I realized a few of my friends were staying at the embassy, and they told me it's so much more safer. There's food, there's a proper, they provide mats, and it's way more neater than the hostel. So I decided to go to the embassy, and we had food, we had breakfast and dinner, and we had mats, and it was way more clean there. and it wasn't as congested as my hostel during the wartime. And the bombing got closer and closer day by day, and it got so close to my hostel that we could see the building right in front of us. That was not half of it, most of it was actually gone because of bombing. We could see right in front of us, right in front of our hostel. And if you look downstairs, if you look down at the ground from our hostel, you could see, I think, Ukrainian army all over. There was a stolen vehicle, and or Russian army, I'm not really sure. And then there were people with guns all over, and they were putting barricades everywhere, and nobody was allowed out. And there was curfew, and then whoever was out during curfew, uh, where the army was asked to shoot them at sight. And there were mines all over, so we weren't sure where to keep our food or not. So it was like we were scared to go out, and then shops were closed. So even when the curfew was not there, the shops were closed because I guess like people were scared to open it, like stay there for that long. And then what happened was, at the embassy, all of us were asked to, we were informed at I think around 11 p.m. on 28th, I think, yeah, on 28th, we were all asked to leave the embassy. They said like curfew would be lifted at 8 a.m. on 28th, and we were supposed to, there will be trucks provided, but trucks weren't provided. We were supposed to go to the nearest train station. I think it was called Kloska. I'm not really sure, I don't remember. So we were supposed to go there, and we walked 9.5 kilometers to the train station on foot with our luggage, all our luggages we had to walk. And there were 650 plus students from the hostel too. And it was like first come first get, so basically who went first, even there were 22 of us from the embassy, like my friends. And then four of them at that time, they paid $100 and got in, and they didn't inform us. So yeah, those four got separated. Then there were 17 of us, and then all 17 got us somehow. There was like so much pushing, and then some of my best friends from hostel couldn't get in, like same train, because they were all pushed out. And then like inside the train itself, there was like division between the North Indians and South Indians. Like downstairs there were like two North Indians sitting, and they wouldn't, like, actually there's like 5 or 6 people could be accommodated, but then we had to sit up. It's not like Indian railway trains. You can't actually sit on the upper bunker, you can't even sit straight. Your head will be like this. And then we couldn't keep any of our luggages down there because the North Indians, we weren't in good terms. Not just like some of the North Indian, South Indian people, like it was happening with everyone. Then we got the train somehow. It was like we'll take any train from Kiev to anywhere. It doesn't matter which train. We just wanted to leave Kiev. It wasn't safe at all at Kiev. So we actually went to Kovel. That was the train to Kovel, and we came to know about it right before we boarded the train. And then from Kovel we went to Lviv, and our plan was to go to Hungary. But then when we reached there, we waited for 6 hours or 6.5 hours in the cold. And I also lost my phone during that time. But then we didn't get the train. People who paid didn't get the train. We didn't pay, because we were informed people who paid, even not even those people got the train. And even amongst the Ukrainians, only women and children were allowed in, not their husbands or any of the men. They had to join the army. So we were sure that we wouldn't get the train, and we were planning what to do. There was food provided by some of the Ukrainians over there, so we ate that. Most of us didn't have food then also, like we didn't have food. And because we didn't know that place and there were no shops nearby, food was provided there for everyone. And from there we took 3 taxis, and we didn't, like, we booked, like we had to, like, in a taxi only 4 people can be accommodated according to the Ukrainian rule. And so we took 3 taxis. There were only 11 of us now left. The other 6 went separately. They decided to go to Hungary itself. They took a bus. They said they left. And then the 11 of us then booked 3 taxis, 4 in 2 taxi and 3 in another one. And we booked like 15 plus times for 3 taxis, because none of them were, like, if the fare was like 3,000 grivens, Then when they come, they would ask for like $700, and we wouldn't have that in our hand. Like we were ready to give any amount of cash, but then we had to give it as liquid cash, and we didn't have liquid cash, even if all of us pooled in the cash. So like we had to book like 15 plus times, and at last we got 3 taxis. And right before we reached the Poland, they wouldn't like stop right before the Poland border. We had to walk a teeny weeny bit over there. But then right before we reached there, we came to know that in Lviv, the place we were staying at the moment, they were going to air bomb it, and that means like vacuuming the whole oxygen supply. I'm not sure if that happened, but then that's what the information we got right before reaching the Poland border. And the driver was good. We were scared he would do something, because during the wartime, Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, had passed a rule that like any civilian who wants to join the army will get free arms. So every civilian had a free gun with everyone was armed. So we were scared if any of us would get shot or something. But then we took that risk, and we went, and then we reached the Poland border, and right from there to back home in Kerala, we didn't have much problem. But then when we went to the hotel we stayed at, provided by the embassy, there was division between the North Indians and South Indians too. But then it was fine, like compared to what we had to face all these days. And some of my friends called me from Kharkiv and told their bunkers broke, and some of their friends are stuck on the road where there's firing and stuff happening at the moment. And so many students were stuck in Sumi, and right now they don't have water, and they are like getting collecting ice and melting that for water, and they don't have food, they don't have electricity. And when I boarded my train, a flight from Poland to Delhi, the guy sitting next to me, Malkeet Singh, he told me that he's stopping his education because he had to walk. He's studying at he's a management student at European University Kiev. So he had to his car broke down first of all, and then he left his car because we don't have a choice. We have to live with what we have. Right now I'm home, and then the only thing I have with me from Ukraine is my documents and my laptop, and that's it. All my other stuff are at Ukraine, and I'm just happy that I'm alive. So Malkeet had to leave his car he just maybe went 5 kilometers, and there's 60 kilometers or so. Then he had to walk the rest of the distance, and he left some of his stuff because we can't actually carry a luggage and travel that much distance. And in between, he saw a truck and a car collide, and people died. That's the first death he saw. And then there was no food, no taxis were stopping for not just Indians, anybody. So there was no taxi available, and the taxis available, they were not stopping for us, and he had to walk. And then there was no food, not enough food, and there was he hadn't slept for 5 days. He had to walk for 5 days, and they decided to sleep. They put a paper down. There were 3 of them. They decided to sleep there. And then, for example, if they were sleeping here, Malkeet, the guy I met at the flight, in my flight, he woke up over here. That is 10 minutes from point A at point B. And then his another friend woke up at point C. That is 15 minutes from point B. So Malkeet, there was a food stall over here provided by the Poland army. They had reached Poland border almost, and then he asked him, where am I? They said, don't you know? And then he just asked that much. That was the first time he slept, and he slept for 1 hour. That's it, for 5 days. And then he decided to walk back because he didn't remember walking this much distance, and he didn't remember seeing any of these stuff. So he walked back, and then he called his friend. His friend told him he's here, and then they talked, and then reached here. So he remembers he remembers being here, but then he doesn't. The place looks different actually. And then he asked his friend, where are we? Are we dead? Basically our mentality, we didn't know what was real and what was all of our minds were messed up. We didn't know if we would live, we would die. It was basically messed up. And he called his another friend that was 15 minutes away, that was at point C. And then these 2 friends asked him, where are you? And then this friend at point C said, I'm at Zoloty Vorota. And Zoloty Vorota is a place at Kiev, but they are at like almost at the border of Poland, which is like I think 100 kilometers away from Kiev. So basically, all of them were hallucinating, and they didn't know what was real and what was unreal. And they went to the Poland border, and then they were basically stamping and kicking all Indians, and not just Indians, other nationality people too, Nigerians and Algerians too. So with Malkit and his two friends, there was an Algerian and an Nigerian there, and these army men, Ukrainian army men, kicked these people, and they were in pain, and I think there was like internal bleeding, and they wanted to go to the hospital. They begged them to take the hospital, but then they didn't. The army didn't, and they died. And this is the second death he witnessed with his own eyes. And he hadn't, like, none of us took a bath for 10 days. Like, none of us changed our socks. None of us, some of us didn't have brush, but that's fine. We had paste, and we didn't have enough food. We didn't have water. Like, I drank, me and my friends. Like, there was like I had five, like me and four other close friends. We had one bottle of water. Like, we had 1 liter, one bottle of water, and there's like five of us, and we didn't know for how many days we would be staying. So basically, we drank soda for 2 days. We had actually bought soda, 2 bottles of soda instead of water. So we drank soda for 2 days. We didn't have water, and some people who didn't have water, they drank tap water and they got diarrhea, and they had to take medicine for that. And I also heard that a friend of my friend had decided to stop his education because when he went back to his flat, everything was destroyed, all his, like everything completely, there was nothing left, and he just had his documents and a bag, and he's decided to go back and never come back. And Malkeet, this guy I met at my flight, in the flight, he's also stopping his education because he's mentally affected, and his like he hasn't slept, and then everyone's traumatized. And now I like, it's been 3 or 4 days since I've been back home. It's been 4 days, it's my fourth day, and I still have post-traumatic stress, and I still cry, and I still have insomnia, and it's not just me, it's everyone. And in a way we'll be part of history, but then I don't know when all of us will be okay again. So that's it.